Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 17th. We're just going to jump right in here, Gemini, and we're going to where everything is in this first part of the spread is just going to be kind of like a general, a general reading, whatever you want to call it, and that's what we're going to look at. Then what we're going to do is we are going to clarify the entire spread with the after tarot here, and we're going to see, so this is going to be like your current general energies, and with the after tarot, we're going to kind of look at the outcome and also the future energies, if that makes sense. Also, this deck right here, this circle one, is the Coffee Cup Oracle. People keep asking me what it is, and that's what it is, and it's awesome, so love it. This right here is the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, which a lot of people ask about as well. It's also my other favorite that I'm using right now. But let's see here, Gemini, what we have going on for you. Definitely some sort of new beginning is what I would say. Duh. I mean, this literally says new beginning on it. But I feel there could be a new beginning coming into your life. Looks like love. Really, I would say it could also be just a personal new beginning because you do have the lovers showing up here, which is your card. But it's like some sort of choice that you have made to have a new beginning. I'm wondering if someone, this could be like you leaving a lying, cheating, stealing situation. You have the Seven of Swords here. So if it's love, I feel like someone was like a liar, cheater, stealer. For others, maybe it's not that dramatic. Again, I think that most relationship readings are too dramatic with what's actually going on. So maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it was just something just didn't work out here. I almost feel like someone told you, that they wanted it all, but maybe it didn't work out. It's kind of funny because I feel like you stopped giving someone attention and now they can't stop looking at you is what I get in this third row. I don't think it matters. I think you're moving on. But again, definitely a new beginning, and this new beginning is probably going to change your destiny. You have the Wheel of Fortune here. So you have the Wheel of Fortune, the Seven of Swords, and the Page of Cups. This Wheel of Fortune goes down to the Six of Wands, which is, of course, a card of excellence and success. And what I would say to you, Gemini, is I feel like this reading is encouraging you to follow this path right here, down to the Six of Wands. Not this one right here, for whatever reason. Again, I read intuitively. Sometimes I feel like the rows are telling me different things, and that's what I feel in your reading. I feel it's very simple. I feel like it's saying don't repeat a past mistake. Take control of your destiny. Boldly move towards what you want with that Queen of Wands. You will be successful. This is something new. And again, I feel like typical Gemini reading, right? I'm a Gemini moon. I totally get it. It's like I feel like you have a choice to make. You could be feeling pulled between two things, but I feel this is encouraging you to move towards what is new. And again, with this Wheel of Fortune, I feel like you're taking control of your destiny. And that's what the Wheel of Fortune is all about. Again, I like to remind people that, the Wheel of Fortune, number one, it's always spinning. So it's kind of always moving in a direction. And it really represents our destiny in the sense that it's our personal vision for our life, like where we see our life going or the things that we see ourselves potentially accomplishing in the future. It's like, what are those things? And what do you want? And we take control by kind of like removing resistance, which is your next card, and taking the first steps. You have the Eight of Swords. So I really feel the resistance for you is just your first step towards whatever you see as your destiny or your new beginning. You have the Seven of Swords here. Again, I almost feel like you're realizing that someone wasn't very fun. That's what's popping into my head here. It doesn't matter if they lied, cheated, stole. I mean, it does matter, but, I think that really, when you boil it down here, I feel like you're realizing that someone wasn't fun to be with in the first place. Maybe they didn't give you love and attention, or maybe you just didn't have fun, right? Could be anything. There's something here about play and needing to play. I feel like this person, almost strikes me as a person with trauma from childhood because it's like they don't have that, that play instinct. I don't know. That's what's popping into my head. Hopefully that makes sense. You have the Page of Cups here. I feel like this is a new person coming in for you. Definitely could be a fire sign because you have the this bottom row here. You go Lovers, Six of Wands to the Page of Wands. So it could be a fire sign. Doesn't have to be. Take it how it resonates. I just feel it could be someone very enthusiastic. That's probably something that will stand out to you here, is that I feel like they just have like a zest for life. And also, I'm getting the difference between fun, not fun. So this new person is probably fun. You'll probably just literally do fun things. With that Wheel of Fortune, you have the Page of Swords here. So I feel like you need to make a decision with this Page of Swords. I feel that it's like, see these people walking towards him? I feel like they're saying like, okay, have you made up your mind? Are you, are you going to make your decision or not? And I feel like you have enough evidence. I've been telling people all year, this year, right, that just based off the astrology, I think part of the best advice to follow, even for like the next 2 years, is to follow the evidence or to look at the evidence. And you might say, oh, that's obvious that we should look at the evidence and make a decision. But I don't know. I make mistakes all the time, right? So there are plenty of times where I don't look at the evidence and I completely ignore it. So, that's what I would do here if you're trying to make a decision. With the Seven of Swords, Three of Pentacles could have been like a third-party situation here. I almost feel like someone was just putting all their work into another situation, but made it seem like they were giving you time too. So you could be walking away from that. I also feel that for a lot of you, you could be working on your own thing, just in life in general. This is a card of quality work, and I think that's the most important part of the Three of Pentacles, is that it says, a job worth doing is a job worth doing right. So make sure that whatever you're working on, you're kind of putting in the quality. With the Page of Cups, you have the Knight of Wands. I don't know, I feel like you're a little bit worried about inconsistent energy because maybe that's what you've experienced in the past, but I feel there's something new coming in for you. I also always say that, to me, the Knight of Wands represents mysteries, or kind of looking into a mystery, and the reason I say that is because he has these pyramids on the background of the card. If we go up to this diagonal with that Moon card, the Moon card also represents mysteries and, needing to dig into a mystery. Here's the thing. Is, do you really need to repeat this mystery? No, is the answer here, Gemini. I feel like you have all the answers. Some of you could be, again, I'm just going to throw it out there. Some of you could be waiting for communication or hoping to hear from a person or whatever. But it's like, I feel like you already know how it's going to go. So, I'm not saying you're wasting time, but at the same time, I'm saying you're wasting time, right? Next, you have the Resistance card. I feel that you are very close to success. I always talk about it. One of my favorite books of all time, The War of Art, by Stephen Pressfield. He talks about resistance in that book, and he talks about how when we are very close to success, that's when we are met with the most resistance. So I feel for a lot of you, you could be experiencing the most resistance at this time, at a moment where you're very close to success. I even think you could be having dreams. Like, have you ever had one of those dreams where you're like running, but you can't run? Or you're trying to get close to something, but it's like a force is pushing you back. I feel like you could be having dreams like that where you're trying to run, but you can't, or you're trying to yell and you can't. Some sort of resistant type dream, right? And if you're having those dreams, I literally feel it's the universe being like get to stepping here. Eight of Swords. You have the Eight of Swords, the Queen of Wands, and the Lovers. I feel that this is you showing up in a very strong position. I feel like you have choices as well. The Lovers was traditionally basically about a crossroads, just being at a crossroads, having a choice to make. The Eight of Swords is about not seeing your options. So I feel like you need to see that there are actually options for you. She is in a self-imposed prison. She needs to set herself free. So you're not stuck, is what this says. You have the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is a card of being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want, becoming successful by being bold, being assertive, and taking those first steps. I literally just did a post the other day that did really well, by the way, that was all about imperfect action, right? I feel like we should be taking imperfect action. And again, if you're in this Eight of Swords mode, I feel like that's the problem. Maybe you're trying to be too perfect, or maybe you're just not taking action on something that you want to get started on. So I feel like you need to take action. I also feel again, I feel like there could be a lot of attention on you in love if you want it. So there you go. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. So again, I feel this is saying, like, do you need to repeat something again? And I would say no, of course. I mean, you do you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to offer you loose advice at best, as I always say. But, again, I feel this is saying what something is going to produce. Seven of Pentacles. He has produced those pentacles, but now he's thinking, should I do something else? And the answer is yes. This is the after tarot as well, so I feel like you've already made that decision. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Magician. The Queen of Wands is the card of seduction, and the Magician is a card of attraction. I always tell people, it's like, how can you seduce the things that you want in your life? If you want money, there are things you can do to literally attract and seduce the money. So I feel like this reading is saying become seductive to the things that you desire to have. And people always say, how do I do that? I'm always like, well, it's like go study people who have a lot of money, right? Do what they do. I mean, literally, one major thing that's changed my life is mimicking success before I've become successful, right? So it's like doing the things that successful people do before you actually have success. They have certain habits, they have certain routines, and there's a million of them as well. That's the best part, is that there's a million different versions of basically what they all do. So it's like you can find something that fits for you. It's like, if you want more money, there are like plenty of dudes out there that'll tell you to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then there are others that are just like, it doesn't matter, work at night. So it's like, what system can work for you, and how can you create that, seductive energy for money, love, business, whatever it is you want. With the Lovers, you have the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of resources in love. So I feel like you have a lot to give. I feel people can sense that as well. So I feel that could be like a double-edged sword. It's like if there are people who want to take advantage of you, then you're going to need to be able to care for that, or be careful of that. I kind of feel like, I wouldn't really call it a test, but what I would say is I feel for some of you, there could be, some people that are coming in that remind you of this a past person here. And I feel it's like saying, don't repeat the cycle. You have already been through this once, this type of person, right? Whatever it is. And I feel like that Queen of Pentacles is saying you have the resources now to attract something significantly better. Next, you have this Cat card. It says jealousy and gossip. Again, Mars is going to retrograde in your sign, Gemini. At the end of October. I would just completely ignore gossip, plain and simple, because with Mars in your sign, Mars retrograde, it's always really a bad time to take part in gossip or to even pay attention. I've been saying all year that. I've been telling everybody, I probably have told you that if I was dealing with gossip at all or anything like that, I would just completely ignore it no matter what anyone was saying, because after Mars retrograde, yes, you're going to have to wait until June when we're out of the shadow, but the truth always comes out and you will always be vindicated. Not that I think anyone is going to be, but this probably isn't even worth mentioning, right? It's not like some big deal that's going to happen, but I would just ignore it because, again, if you take part in it during Mars retrograde, it makes you look guilty, so I would ignore it. I also feel like someone can't keep their eyes off you now. Probably someone that you walked away from. You have the Moon, the Chariot, and the Six of Wands. So the Moon is like some sort of mystery. I kind of feel, part of me feels like it's saying, don't go down this path again, actually, which I normally never say on the Moon, because I always encourage people to go down that path and climb those mountains. That's where success is with the Moon card. But for whatever reason, I feel like it's asking you, do you really need to, repeat something again? The Chariot, you can see that he's leaving this city behind him. So I feel like you're on a new adventure. He doesn't really know where he's going, and it's also a mystery. But, I feel like this is saying, do you need to repeat a mystery where you actually know what the answer is? Or are there new things that you've never experienced before? And can you allow the universe to guide you in that direction? These sphinxes, they're not tied to this Chariot. There are no reins on those sphinxes. And it kind of represents the fact that he is just trusting the Chariot driver that the universe knows what's best. He is just kind of giving it up to God, as they say, or, whatever you want to call it. He's just allowing the universe to guide him. And that's going to lead to success. I feel like you're on a path to success. I also feel the Moon here could be saying, again, you just don't, we can't really predict the future, and you don't know what's coming, right? So the Six of Wands is what's coming for you. The Six of Wands is success and abundance, but you just have to keep marching forward. Just keep moving forward here, right? Let's see. With the Moon card, you have the Chariot. Again, this is the mystery that I would jump into right here. And I would get moving. Again, everything in your reading is pretty much saying, take that first step or take imperfect action. That's probably going to lead to the most success for you. With the Chariot, you have the Queen of Wands. Are you kidding me? So definitely time to get moving, to be bold, to be assertive. The Chariot has stars in his canopy, and he also has moons on his shoulders. It represents as above, so below energy. So I feel for a lot of you, this is saying tap into your, powers of manifestation, seduction, right? Be seductive to the things that you want to have in your life. With the Six of Wands, you have the Ten of Wands. And yeah, it's not time to give up, Ten of Wands is a burden. And you can see on the After Tarot, he has dropped his 10 Wands. But his home is right here. he was about to have a harvest. I think something people don't understand about the Ten of Wands is that he is burdened, but it's a harvest. He's getting like results for something, for work that he did. And yeah, it's a burden. Yeah, he had to carry the extra responsibilities, but he's getting something for it. And I feel like this Ten of Wands is kind of saying, like, don't give up on something that you're working towards. You even have the Magician pointing to the Ten of Wands. Like, the Magician is saying, you have all the talents, gifts, skills, and abilities necessary to be very successful. Next, you have this speculation card and this versatility card. I would be careful of speculation at this time. Like, if you think, again, with a gossip card that people are talking behind your back or whatever, it might not be true. It might be true, but, I think it's better to live with the assumption that nothing is about me. So I feel like that's what you should, maybe that's the energy you should embrace until January, is just pretend or assume that if you think people are talking about you, that they're not. And I understand like having the desire to defend yourself and all that other stuff, but it's like never worth it. Especially, I promise you, during Mars retrograde, it is never worth it. It always comes back to bite you. So I would be very careful. I feel like this versatility card, this is your card, by the way. This is Sun in Gemini. I feel like it's saying you are versatile, and you are able to do a lot in life, and you're able to be very successful. So I feel there's a lot of success coming in here for you. You have the Four Swords, the Nine of Cups, and the Page of Wands. I feel there are blessings coming in for you as well. You can see here that there's a person who's being blessed by another person in this stained glass window. So I kind of feel like there are blessings coming in for you. And again, you have the Nine of Cups, which we kind of already talked about. Nine of Cups is about soaking in energy before you have it. So it's about like mimicking success. I always say that, he's meant to look chubby on this card because he's about to have a feast. And it kind of represents the fact that he's chubby, so he's had other feasts in his life. And, that's the symbol that kind of represents needing to have an energy before you have it. So needing to be in love before you can have love. And people always say, how do I do that? And I always say, go love a dog, go love a cat, go love yourself, right? Or learn how to love yourself even better. And that's what I would do with the Nine of Cups. Same thing with money. It kind of represents like needing to be around money or abundance or needing to create it mentally. You have the Page of Wands next. I kind of feel like this is a person, part of me feels like it's your adventure. There's clearly an adventure that you're going on here. Queen of Wands twice, Chariot twice. Love it. So definitely very good for adventuring, but I feel like there's a new opportunity coming in for you. I also do feel that could be love. It's really interesting that we would normally consider pages to be immature, but he has this feather in his cap right here, and a feather in the cap represents like knowledge or wisdom or experience. So I feel that you could be attracting a person like who has a lot of experience actually. So let's see. With that Four of Swords, you have the Death card. The Four of Pentacles. So I feel for some of you, and I said death because of this guy right here. I feel for some of you, it's definitely time to let something go. It's the mystery, It's like sometimes, again, I think, especially after a relationship where maybe someone told us how much they love us and all this other stuff, and then they end it. It's very confusing, right? It's like, what the, they told me they love me, but they left or whatever. I kind of get one of those situations going on here where someone left abruptly or just a very confusing ending. And I feel like this is saying, you do know the answer. You already know. Maybe you're doubting it or you're wondering like, why did they leave me? But I feel like it's saying, you know the answer. It's just time to move forward, right? With the Nine of Cups, you have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is about being spoiled for choice. But again, I would like focus on one cup at a time. Pretty much everyone has been getting messages about really needing to, kind of focus in on one thing at a time that you want to attract in your life. I feel that will lead to the most success, more or less. And finally, with that Page of Wands, you have the Devil. It could be a Capricorn for some of you that you're attracting into your life. But again, I would definitely be careful of the past energy of, someone from the past. I do feel some of you could be like a hard, these chains could be hard to break with that Devil energy, especially if it's a past person. Can we get more details on this? You have the Four Swords, the three of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. I don't know. I feel like you're focused on a new beginning for sure. That Four Swords could say, you can see on this Four Swords, it's almost like she's bringing this dead guy some flowers. And so maybe you thought that you could have like a Snow White situation with a person where you kiss them and they wake back up here. But I don't know. Someone could have been taken away from you through because of like toxic reasons as well, which we saw earlier. You have the Three of Wands. You're expanding with the universe. And again, I feel like there's much bigger, better opportunities in your life. You know what's really interesting, Gemini? I feel like you were repeating a cycle with a person if this is a person. And the funny thing is that if you're still watching this person online, Gemini, which I see right here, by the way, not calling you out, Page of Swords, then what I would say is, fine. But what I would say is I feel like you're going to see them repeat a cycle in their life. But, it's like maybe they always do this. Maybe they always have like the same issue or the same thing pop up in their life, right? And I feel like that by you seeing this person making the same mistake again, or repeating a cycle in their own life, I feel like you're almost going to see that this person was just a cycle, and they just live in cycles, and that's probably going to help you move on. I'm going to do kind of like a personalish reading right now. We're going to do 1, 2, and 3 right here, Gemini. So 1, 2, 3. Actually, these are just going to be for one question. So feel free to pause the reading if you need time to think your question. And I'm going to answer it as if I know what your question is. So pause it if you haven't already and think if you need to. But you have the Death card, the Five of Cups, and the Seven of Wands. So again, definitely could be the ending of something that you're walking away from with that Five of Cups. The Seven of Wands is like drawing a line in the sand. I feel like this is saying I'm getting a lot of stuff here, actually, Gemini. For some of you, I feel like this is saying don't settle. Kind of like I was talking about. This could be on a person. But that Seven of Wands, I feel you almost need to kind of like open up. I'm getting something about fears here, about, fears of being wrong, or kind of almost like comfort zone feelings on that Seven of Wands. Sometimes I think we, reach a certain amount of money in business, or we get a certain type of love, and we're almost too afraid to let it go because we're like, at least I have something. But, I always like to remind people that life is about experiences. So even if you experience a failure, at least you had the experience, right? And I think that's scary for people, but at the same time, I actually think you're going to be a success. So again, don't settle, right? But that's that, Gemini. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your week.